Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist, a student of natural law, and an energy practitioner. And we're reading the Kybalion by the Three Initiates. And we're on page 81 now. Causation, chapter 10. No, chapter 12. Chapter 12. And I'm just going to read and comment as usual. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law, not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. The Kybalion. The great sixth hermetic principle, the principle of cause and effect, embodies the truth that law pervades the universe, that nothing happens by chance. The chance is merely a term indicating cause existing, but not recognized or perceived. That phenomena is continuous without break or exception. So that would mean that right now, as we go through this time that we're going through of extreme chaos, we are perhaps at effect of cause that we perpetrated upon ourselves a while ago. You can just think about that. To me, it's obvious. There's so many things that we are at effect of. We in the United States, having come here and stolen this land from the people that were originally living here and killing them off and torturing them, we have to pay a price for that. If you happen to be a person who has taken an oath of being true to some code, like I have, and then you act in a dishonest manner, there is no lag time in the effect. For me, when I slip off the path, which I do occasionally because I am a human being trying to live here, the effect of my cause is immediate, and it always has been, actually. For some reason. I mean, I think it's a karmic thing. I have free will, but there are consequences to my actions, which is why I choose to live by natural law today, because the consequences for my actions when I was acting in a self-serving way were so abhorrent to me that I couldn't live like that anymore. For example, I will say that I was involved in a car accident, quote unquote, accident in 2019. And because I don't believe in accidents and I believe in the law of cause and effect, I felt that I knew why I was sitting in the passenger seat of the car when it was hit by a drunk driver on an icy night. And that was because I had money that I needed to pay back to an individual, and I was not paying it back. So I placed myself in this position to be harmed because I was in the act of theft. And it was just on my part of it, I was in fear of financial insecurity. And so I wasn't immediately paying back the debt I owed. So in a way, I was holding the other person's money, therefore theft of property in a timing sort of way. And I was then in a car accident. Because normally when I live according to natural law, I'm never in those positions. I never have weird, crazy things happen to me. And when weird, crazy things happen to me like that, I know that I've slipped off the path. But usually I walk in a corridor of light because I'm constantly checking to see what I'm up to. The principle of cause and effect underlies all scientific thought, ancient and modern, and was enunciated by the Hermetic teachers in the earliest days. While many and varied disputes between the many schools of thought have since arisen, these disputes have been principally upon the details of the operations of the principle, and still more often upon the meaning of certain words. The underlying principle of cause and effect has been accepted as correct by practically all of the thinkers of the world worthy of the name. To think otherwise would be to take the phenomena of the universe from the domain of law and order and to relegate it to the control of the imaginary something which men have called, quote, chance. And so while I'm reading that, I'm thinking about order followers, for example. This is how the dark occult Luciferians attempt to subvert natural law so that they don't have to pay the price that we all pay. So what they do is that they use fake green paper, the fiat currency, to buy people's loyalty and get them to take their immoral acts for them. For example, the military. The military answers to the dark occult Luciferian thugs, and the military men and women carry out the orders of the immoral psychopaths. And therefore, they individually pay the price, the karmic price, the effect of the cause. They are the cause and they have an effect where they suffer from post-traumatic stress, or they lose limbs or their lives, or they have horrible, experiences and they have to numb out and lose everything that's dear to them because they've had to shut down from their horrible experience carrying out the orders. And when you are a police officer or quote unquote law enforcement, when you become a law enforcement agent, then you basically agree to follow orders. And so you have to often put your own moral compass to sleep and do what you're told to do, which is order following, which sets in motion the law of cause and effect. And so the person who gives the orders supposedly doesn't have to pay the price of the effect. That's how these dark occult psychopaths, reptilian, shape-shifting, Anunnaki scumbags running the earth get their shit accomplished, like geoengineering, for example. Let's take that for a moment. They get the pilots of planes using money to spray us like bugs. And who's going to pay the price for that? The pilots, because they followed the orders. That's the law of cause and effect. They may make a bunch of money, but they'll have some horrible crisis as a result of that, which they won't ever even realize. They'll just think, oh, life sucks or whatever. Why me? Well, because you're acting immorally. That's why. I mean, I know so many situations like this. Like, for example, someone I know recently had to move out of their house, and they had an item that one of their siblings wanted, but they felt vindictive towards the sibling, and so they chose not to give the sibling the item. Instead, they chose to throw the item away. And then they lost some items in the move. I mean, it's obvious to me that this is the law of cause and effect, because they weren't forgiving and loving towards their sibling, giving them the item. That was their cause, and the effect was that they lost something that was of value to them. That's the universe balancing the books. The universe always does balance the books. So, that's another sort of snub to man's law. Like, I don't need to play judge and jury for my fellows because the universe will take care of it. It may not happen in my time or in a way that I can see it, but guaranteed the universe will take care of transgressors. Therefore, the dark occult psychopaths who think they're subverting natural law will pay. They will pay. Maybe they'll have to come back as an earthworm and start all over again. They think they're not going to have to do that, and they think that they'd rather serve in hell than rule or serve in they could be serving in heaven, but they'd rather rule in hell. But they're going to end up starting back over again, as was discussed in the law of rhythm. In the law of rhythm, it talked about how effects play out over lifetimes. You may have a cause a couple of lifetimes ago that you then reap the effect of in this lifetime. And it sort of proves the reincarnation idea in a certain way. But I ramble. A little consideration will show anyone that there is in reality no such thing as pure chance. Webster defines the word chance as follows, quote, a supposed agent or mode of activity other than a force, law, or purpose. The operation or activity of such agent, the supposed effect of such an agent, a happening, fortuity, causality, casualty, etc., end quote. But a little consideration will show you that there can be no such agent as chance, in the sense of something outside of law, something outside of cause and effect. How could there be a something acting in the phenomenal universe independent of the laws, order, and continuity of the latter? Such a something would be entirely independent of the orderly trend of the universe and therefore superior to it. We can imagine nothing outside of the all being outside of the law, and that only because the all is the law in itself. There is no room in the universe for something outside of and independent of law. The existence of such a something would render all natural laws ineffective and would plunge the universe into chaotic disorder and lawlessness. So that's a good point, though, because you can see that our society has been plunged into chaotic disorder and lawlessness. And so you could think that everything's by chance right now, but there is definitely a cause. And our ignorance, the ignorance of the common people of what's been going on incrementally for millennia is the cause. I mean, if we had been united and had stood up for principle as things unfolded, we wouldn't be in this situation. And that's pretty much the great lesson of being here, is to learn how to work together, learning to set aside our differences and working together for our freedom, not just my freedom. And so we basically set this ball in motion by allowing incremental dishonesties and lies to go by unquestioned. And here we are now in chaos and lawlessness. But it's not because there is no natural law. It's because this is the effect of our cause. So how to get back into alignment is to start to pay attention to what you're sowing, because you're reaping what you're sowing. So you just get back into alignment. And you may have to like clean up the wreckage of your past, make reparations for harms caused. But if you live like that, you can even escape the retribution that everyone else in the collective is experiencing. I mean, of course, there's no way to avoid everything that the collective has perpetrated upon itself, but it is possible to live in alignment with natural law and have your own private effect be in alignment with nature, and therefore not have bad things happen to you, and you can avoid. There's always a workaround for everything that's coming. It's always provided. If you are living according to natural law, you will gain access to ways to stay a free being, even if the collective is under tyranny. So that's the optimistic point of view of the situation right now. Like, I'll give you an example. Smart meters. We didn't find a way to avoid having a smart meter. There, I'll put a link in the description to a website that gives you a lot of helpful information about smart meters. But all in all, we all ended up with smart meters in my neighborhood. So the workaround is to put tin foil, aluminum foil, on the wall behind the smart meter. Not a Faraday cloth, just plain old cheap aluminum foil. So that's the latest tyrannical move of the monopoly of energy companies under the instruction of the eugenicists. And the workaround is aluminum foil on the wall. There always is going to be a workaround. There always is a workaround, you know, like I didn't consent to get jabbed. And I'm not jabbed. I got stronger spiritually as a result of standing up for principle and dealing with any trauma. So there's always a workaround. There's always a way to remain free. And as you do that, my experience is my cause and my effect become more aligned with that of the creator. Until next time.